Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Thursday, the 4th day of November, year of our Lord, 2021. They're still battling in Congress about what's going to be in the new bill, what kind of taxes, a lot of things that have been proposed are being reproposed. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? Okay, here we are back in the studio. Welcome. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. We're going to talk about taxes, really the state and local tax. This was taken care of some years ago. The state and local tax. They put a cap on the tax, as most of us here in Illinois know. It's affected a lot of us, and to target the wealthy. So the wealthy can't take all these deductions on their big homes. But Congress now is, in all of its, as I like to say, its infinite wisdom, is revisiting this. I know that we keep hearing that they only want to tax people with more than $400,000, and the rest of us won't have to pay any more taxes. And they're going to increase the taxes on the wealthy. But this is a way, there are those that want to eliminate this SALT. Some want to raise the cap from $10,000 to $74,000 or something like that. Some want to eliminate it for 5 years. So there's different proposals out there about how to do this. And, how is that going to work? Well, I don't know. But let's read some of the stories and find out. Maybe we can figure that out. Okay. So here's the first story. Some Democrats want to repeal SALT deduction cap, which they say hurts middle-class taxpayers in high-cost areas. Others say that's a tax cut for the rich. Well, it is a tax cut for the rich. That's not even an issue. They're saying it's some middle class also. So I guess it depends on where you put the middle class. Although, again, here in Illinois, that $10,000 in state and local taxes can hurt, since we have a fairly high state tax, income tax, and then a lot of property taxes. And so if you limit that to $10,000, many people are left on the sidelines holding the bag. And of course, what's driving this is that many people then want to get out of these blue states, like Illinois, like New York, and like New Jersey, because these taxes are damaging. And so you get a better idea. Let me go down a little bit here. And so a provision in the Trump tax plan has become a sticking point for some Democrats as they work to reach a deal on the $1.7 trillion spending plan. A group of moderate lawmakers are pushing to repeal the so-called SALT deduction cap in the reconciliation package, saying no SALT, no deal. But other Democrats are trying to slam the brakes on the idea. Actually, they're talking about the reconciliation bill. The other one is the infrastructure bill. That's the one that should be passed first. Of course, that's been the holdup. There are some in Congress that will not agree to the infrastructure bill unless this reconciliation bill is also passed. So they kind of go hand in hand now. And now it's a $1.7 trillion social spending plan. This was the $3.5 trillion plan. And how did they get it to $1.7 trillion? Did they cut a lot of stuff out of it? No, they made it from 10 years to 5 years. And that way, and they did cut some of the stuff out. And actually nobody really knows what's in it. And that's a big issue here because nobody really knows what's in it. They haven't had any hearings to figure out what's in it. This is the old Nancy Pelosi Act. We've got to pass it to find out what's in it. And they don't want you to find out what's in it. And that was the bank reporting. We talked a lot about the bank reporting here in this show about the bank reporting, and that they wanted to, under 600. I thought it was First it was $600. Then they proposed maybe $10,000. And then it's been scrapped. Last week I reported that at least 21 Democrats had pulled the plug and said they wouldn't vote for it. And yet it's still being proposed again today, as I understand it. Will it be part of the package? I don't know. Will they tell us it's part of the package, or do we have to wait till it's passed to find out it was part of the package? I don't know. But it's a good question. We don't really know what's in the package. And maybe we should, maybe that's what, and I have to say I agree with Joe Manchin, and that we should have some hearings, find out what's in the package. It should be scored, by the Congressional Budget Office to tell us what it's going to really cost. They keep telling us it's not going to cost $1 to the deficit. Is that true? We don't have the Budget Office to give, and their scoring to tell us that. And again, one way they cut this from $3.5 trillion to $1.7 trillion is simply by making it from a 10-year plan to a 5-year plan. Although all of the programs are still going to be implemented, and they're still going to be funding it 5 years from now, because they have to. Once it's created, it still has to be funded. They just won't put it in this bill, but it still has to be funded. So that's a trick, and that's why, again, Joe Manchin keeps saying that this is a voodoo, 3-card Monty. And that's Joe Manchin saying that. That's not me saying that. But anyway, that's something out there. So let's go back to the story. The state and local tax deduction cap, set to expire at the end of 2025, limits the amount of state and local taxes that taxpayers can deduct from their federal taxes to $10,000. That hits taxpayers in high tax and predominantly Democratic coastal states harder. But as Democrats from those areas work to lift the cap, others say that they should be a tax cut that it's a tax cut for the rich. Well, again, of course it is. The cap on the SALT deduction remains a punishing blow to some home states of New York and New Jersey as we work to recover from the pandemic and get our economies on strong footing and our constituents back to work, said a New York representative, several of them. Speaking to reporters, they said that pushing for a full reinstatement of the deduction as part of the deal, though he would not say how long he wants the reinstatement to be in effect. House Ways and Means chairman said Thursday that the committee is still discussing the deduction. According to Committee A, the proposal on the table would repeal the $10,000 cap for the 2021 through 2025 tax years. Doesn't it? It's gone in 2025. So then if you repeal it for those tax years, aren't you repealing it forever? The answer is yes. It would then be reinstated. I didn't read that. It would be reinstated for 5 years after that, which the aide claimed would keep it close to revenue neutral. But they won't, right? It'll be gone in 5 years. The Committee for the Responsible Federal Budget estimates the 5-year repeal of the cap would cost approximately $475 billion, with $400 billion in tax cuts going to the top 5% of households. It would be more costly than any other part of the social spending agenda, including the extension of monthly child tax credit payments, universal pre-K, affordable child care, and more. Senator Bernie Sanders released a statement blasting reports that negotiators are working on the SALT cap repeal, which he called unacceptable. The Vermont Independent said repeal would result in the top 1% paying lower taxes after passage of the Build Back Better plan than they did in tax cuts in 2017. Well, that's pretty much true. And of course, that's the purpose. And this is why I keep saying, whenever they keep telling us that they're only going to tax the wealthy, every chance they get to not tax the wealthy, that's what they do. At a time of massive income and wealth inequality, which is always, the last thing we should do is keep giving more tax breaks to the very rich. Democrats campaigned and won on an agenda that demands that the very wealthy finally pay their fair share, not one that gives them more tax breaks. I am open to the compromise approach which protects the middle class in high-tax states. I will not support more tax breaks for the billionaires. A repeal on the cap is not part of the latest Build Back Better framework released by the White House last week, though Biden administration officials have previously said they are open to the repeal as long as lawmakers find a way to pay for it. The negotiation, and again, this is the way they pay for it. We'll put it in 5 years from now. Well, wait a minute, we don't know you're going to have it 5 years from now. Well, that's how it's going to be revenue neutral that way. It's another sleight of hand. The negotiations come as other measures in the originally proposed reconciliation package, such as tuition-free community college and paid leave, have been cut amid efforts to reduce its price tag. Now, again, the first bill has been on hold because of the reconciliation, the infrastructure bill. And the infrastructure bill is not at all guaranteed to be passed either. And now we're just assuming now that this is going to be passed. After the election on Tuesday, I would think that some in Congress are going to take pause before going with these programs. Just my guess. Democrats eye raising minimum tax rates to offset SALT expansion. Another story. At the expansion of the alternative, they want to increase the alternative or propose an alternative minimum tax. So along with this, so that way that the higher income people will pay a minimum tax, not based on, and then they don't get the SALT deduction. Democrats weighing enlarging the alternative minimum tax to counter SALT expansion. So I just wanted to go through some of these stories. And then here's another story. Democrats managed to get 4 weeks of paid leave back into the social spending bill. There was a 12-week plan for this. It was removed from the plan altogether, only to be put back in today. And it's the same thing with all of these things. They put them in. There's lots. It gets brought out to the public. They hear about it. They take it out and then they put it right back in. So we don't know. We won't know what's in this plan until it's passed. They won't tell us what's in the plan. When you're spending $2 trillion, you can hide a lot of programs in that plan, and that's what's going on. Is that good or bad? Well, that's up to you to decide. I'm just here to report the facts that they're contemplating raising the state and local tax cap from $10,000 to $75,000 or $72,000, or eliminating it altogether. And that obviously would help people in higher incomes and kind of offset this whole kabuki theater that they're telling us that they're trying to tax the rich, when in fact they're trying to tax the middle class, because that's who pays all the taxes. And that's just a fact. So anyway, I thought it was interesting. It's interesting to see that everything's getting put back in, taken out. It's again, this used to be done transparently, because they would have a bill, they would propose the bill, there would be hearings on the bill, there would be professionals and experts presented to give how much it's going to cost, what the impact is, and on and on. But now we just say, let's throw it in, let's take it out, let's throw it, and it's just horse trading to put something together, to put it in a bill and get it passed. Remember, the Democrats now in Congress have a 5-seat majority, right? So 3 members back away from this, and they won't get it passed. In the Senate, as we all know, that it's 50-50, and there's a tiebreaker with the vice president. But it's a 50-50 country. You should have to have some compromise. And the president came out today and said, well, we're compromising, and we're putting this in and taking out. That shows that we're compromising. They're only compromising among Democrats. They're not compromising among everyone. They say, well, it's only up to 1 senator. No, there's 51 senators that are against it. Not just one, not just Joe Manchin. 50 others are behind him. So there's 51 senators, more than are for it. But they put it in that vein in order to pressure Joe Manchin. It's all on you. It's all on you. No, it isn't. There's 51 senators. And again, there's only a 5-seat majority. That means 3 congressmen go the other way, and they don't have a majority. Why is it that for the infrastructure bill, I think it was 17 or 19 Republicans did back initially. Is that going to stay? I don't know. Now who knows what they keep putting more stuff in it? Maybe not. So anyway, that's what we're on. Now remember, if you're fighting the IRS, and that's what we help people do. the first thing you should do, get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com. Go to freeirsbook.com. Get a copy of the book. Don't cost nothing. If you want a hard copy, I'm going to ask you to pay the shipping and handling, small fee. If you don't want the hard copy and you just want the content, I'll give you the content for free. Go to freeirsbook.com, put in your information, but don't give me your credit card information. And I'll make sure you get a copy of the, or you'll get access to the membership site, which has all that information. This whole book is in PDF format. It's in Word format. I have an audio version. I have each and every chapter has a video summary. So again, go to freeirsbook.com and get your free copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. And now I'm going to ask you, like and subscribe, share this content, get it out there. I need to have more people get this content. Nobody else is telling you about what's going on in the tax world every day. That's what I'm here for. So like and subscribe. I thank you very much. Now tomorrow is Friday. We do the Watch Talk Radio live podcast from 2 o'clock to about 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2 hours. So join us at watchtalkradio.com or this venue. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We streamed all that. And it's live at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So thanks so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you.